Hi, everyone. It's Paul Miller of the Free Time Free Spill podcast, and it's based on positivity and diversity. We have multiple guests on the show, like from different backgrounds and expertise. And today we have Michael Mezmer, and he's an author and hypnotist, and he has won a lot of awards. How you doing, Michael?
I am doing great and so awesome to be with you today. Thanks for having me as a guest.
So you want to jump right into the topics?
I'd be happy to. Yeah.
So does hypnotherapy deals only with sleep?
Say that one more time.
Does hypnotherapy deals only with sleep?
Well, sleep is a very different level than hypnosis, actually. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, and so I've been doing this for over 2.5 decades. And I will tell you that people often think because they watch movies or something else that hypnosis is a sleep state, and you're not asleep at all. It's actually it's a different kind of state because all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. And so what we do in hypnosis is we access our subconscious mind, the part that we normally don't use. And in doing so, by accessing that, we can actually help ourselves by reprogramming our subconscious in a positive way. So you're not really asleep, you're just very relaxed. Here's an example. You probably have done this. When you drive down the highway and you're going a distance to your friend's house or somewhere for 100, maybe 100 miles, or maybe even 20 miles, you get there and you think, how did I get here so quickly? That's the natural way of doing hypnosis that we do every day, because the God-given ability we all have. Here's another one. You're watching the news or something on TV, and someone comes up to you, maybe your friend, a wife, whatever, and they say something to you, but when you get done with that TV show, you have no memory of what they said to you. It's because you're focused, you're relaxing, you're opening your imagination to the TV, and you're in that hypnotic state. So you're fully aware when you're hypnotized. You're not sleeping, you're not out of it. But you just simply choose to do it because you have a need. Maybe you want to work on stop smoking or weight control, or right now with the COVID issues, you want to work with stress and sleep. So it's not exactly sleep, although we use that term a lot. When we hypnotize, we always say sleep. It's because people understand that term and respond to it, but you're really not sleeping at all during hypnosis. You're just deeply relaxed.
And how does the sessions work?
Well, I do most of mine on Zoom now because of COVID, obviously. Previous to this, I was at the Unger Medical Center in Rancho Cucamonga, California, as their consultant for hypnosis. I still am, but just not going in person. So I'm doing all of it really by Zoom now, and it works very well because, as I told you, the TV is a great hypnotic tool, as is our screens. So with the sessions, what I do is, in my particular case, I always meet with people for a session first. And talk with them about hypnosis, take away their misunderstandings of hypnosis, and also find out what they want to deal with and where they're headed. And that way, when we get into the session, the actual hypnosis session, which will be the second session, then I have sort of a little idea of where to go and help them. And I should tell you, unlike psychiatrists and psychologists, we're not here to have a roadmap ahead of time. That's what they do in psychology and psychiatrists do. With hypnotherapy, we deal with what emerges. So when we're in a session, the people really tell us what they need to do while they're hypnotized. They are the ones that lead us in the direction they need to go in. We follow it, and we just help them to heal themselves. And that's what's cool about hypnotherapy. It's about helping people help themselves.
And how do they prepare? What questions and words do they have before they get hypnotized and the therapy sessions?
Well, there's no preparation needed. It's much like how we're doing this interview. We just explore what they're doing. And like I say, in the pre-talk, a lot of times, a lot of things will come out. We'll be talking about their family life. And you see, what happens is that from age 1 through 7, everything we hear is uncritically accepted into our unconscious mind. Okay. So because of that, a lot of things that drive us through life, that keep making decisions for us unconsciously, a lot of those issues were created when we were young. And so they go around like a broken record, and they're never reprogrammed in a positive way. So they remain a negative. Now, there are positive things that happen when we're young too, that continue to help us and reinforce us. But what happens is, if you look at this is the subconscious mind, we'll say here. Here's the conscious mind here. So we don't have the safety or the blockade to decide what we're going to accept when we're little. So that's not there. So everything goes in there. Let's say you're in the back of a car, you're with your mom and dad or something, or in your house, and you're singing to the radio when you're a little kid. And your dad or mom says, would you stop that noise? I'm trying to do something here. Well, that permanently makes you think that you're not a good singer, that you can't sing, that you shouldn't sing. And so when you're an adult, you continue that behavior because it's in the subconscious. Now, after age 7 or 8 or 9, this critical factor of your conscious mind comes into play. And so it deflects information that you don't want to accept, that you know is not right for you. So the problem is, or not the problem, but the issue always is going past that, setting it aside with hypnosis, and then going into that subconscious, and then being able to change our lives in an amazing, positive way.
Wow, that's amazing. And you have a program, like what's the program details?
Well, you know, right now I'm really deep into doing my COVID Gnosis Hypnotherapy Ultimate Pandemic program. And what it's about is dealing with the 3 major issues of COVID that we're in right now, the pandemic. The first, we talked first, like I say, with the first session. Then the second session, we go into the issues of stress and stress management, because all of us have been under a lot of stress financially and everything else.
Yeah.
And then the second one, which is actually the third, but the second hypnotherapy session, we go into sleep issues, and we help, because without good sleep, you can't be productive or do anything well. And then finally, the last session, we go into both confidence building, because being away from people so long and detached from society, a lot of people, we've lost a little bit of that confidence that we had all of our lives, because it's like, well, now we go out, can we get near people? Can we, it's a lot of stress that way. So we deal with confidence, and attached to that, usually I'll add in some weight control, because I know me sitting around all these months, not being able to go out in public as much and do what I normally do and be as active, I've certainly gained some weight, and everyone else has from this pandemic. So that's the final session that we try to combine confidence and weight issues, which are pretty intertwined in a lot of ways.
Like I smoke cigarettes too, and like you said, it can help people stop smoking, like just having a therapy session.
Oh yeah, the difference between what psychologists and psychiatrists do is with hypnotherapy. If we can't help you in 2 to 3 sessions, I would personally recommend you to go to someone else, because it works very rapidly. But having said that, you have to want to make the change. A lot of people come to me to stop smoking, and when they do, they want to stop because of I don't want my kids around my kids, or my wife, or my mom doesn't want me to, or whatever. My girlfriend doesn't like it. That's not a good reason. You have to want to quit. If you want to quit because of someone else, you'll never quit. You have to want to quit. Now, if you really have come to that decision, look, it's not good for me. I know it's going to kill me. And in addition, it's just, I don't enjoy it anymore, and I really want to quit. If you're to that point, the hypnosis can help you do it very rapid, sometimes just in a 1-hour session. But you have to want it. It's self-hypnosis. What I do is I help people to do it using my skills and my knowledge as a clinical hypnotherapist. And also I have a degree in psychology. So I help people to do it, but they have to want it. And once they want it, I can help them to help themselves to make that change.
So it means like quitting all smoking, like just tobacco products, like the physical of like smoking a cigarette opposed to like vaping.
Well, again, part of the smoking habit is caused as a physical habit. And it's caused because you're used to doing this physical thing, which helps you with nicotine products. But vaping is just sort of a step down from that. So you're really just replacing one thing with another. And it's sort of like taking, you're not going to take cocaine anymore, so you're going to have LSD. It's just, they're kind of the same thing, and so by saying, well, I'm going to vape instead, well, that's sort of a way of people trying to quit. But you never tried anything in life. Either do it or don't do it, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. So what's the most unusual situation you had to do hypnotherapy?
That is interesting. I've had a lot of interesting situations, but one of the most dramatic ones I would say is I was one time on an airplane coming out of Dallas, And if you know anything about Dallas, a lot of times there's big thunderstorms there, And so we were coming out and we're on a plane, and the plane was going like this, dropping 50 feet, 100 feet at a time and jumping back up and down and up. And you can imagine there was a lot of people that were a little uptight on that flight. But there was one person in particular that was in the front row. Now, on that airline at that time, there were seats facing one another. So you would face the person, your knees were literally almost touching. So in any case, I saw they had put a towel around the lady's head, her neck, and she had the white bag, and she's bending over and just on the verge of doing something very uncomfortable. So I mentioned to the flight attendant, I said, I see that the lady's having a problem. I'm assuming that's her husband in front of her and facing her. And she said, yeah. I said, let them know if they would like me to help her immediately, I can do that. And then, she'll feel a lot better. So I went into the restroom for a moment. And when I came back out, they said, yeah, let's do it. So the husband moved to my seat on the aircraft. I moved up facing her with my knees and facing her directly. And so then what I did was I said, look, I'm going to help you. And so I explained briefly about hypnosis. And then I did a rapid instantaneous induction. And within about 7 minutes, I completed my work with her. And for the rest of the 2.5-hour flight, even though the plane was still going like this for about an hour of the flight, she was laughing, drinking, and partying and having a great time.
Yeah.
And everybody, it was cool. And everybody on the flight said, can I have some of that? Can you do that for me? And I said, no, only one time a flight. But it can work very rapidly. And it can help people. Now, in that situation, as you can see, she had an immediate need, because she was really getting frightened, really scared, her getting physically ill, responding with chemical reaction physically to the situation. So because she had that great need and was wanting to escape it, she was very willing to jump into hypnosis quickly. And then she accepted the suggestions very rapidly because she wanted that upset to end as quickly as possible. So that was how it worked. Now, I will tell you, my friend, I do a lot of times, because I also do stage hypnotism and I do stage shows, which are actually, if you do it properly, a really great group hypnotherapy session. And I always give suggestions for confidence at the end of the show. And we do funny things, but nothing embarrassing or demeaning. But what happens is a lot of times I'm on the road, people have seen my stage show and they challenge me. I'm a big fan of Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee used to get challenged even on the set to fight because people wanted to show that he wasn't who he was, and they wanted to overcome him and maybe even get fame from doing that. Well, it's much like it with me when I'm in my way, when I'm on tour. A lot of times I'll be in a burger joint like Whataburger or McDonald's or something like that. And someone will come to me and say, you can't hypnotize me. And I saw your show and it was all bogus and whatever. So I will do rapid induction right there on the spot in the burger joint and put them right in trance, make them so they can't swallow or something like that, just so they understand the reality of it. And then they'll come out of it. So yeah, if people have a dramatic need or a dramatic reason, you can actually place them in trance quickly and help them to make rapid changes in a positive way.
And what are the benefits of hypnotherapy and being a hypnotist?
Well, I think one of the biggest benefits of doing hypnotherapy is that you're learning a skill. A lot of people in this life, they teach us what to put in our mind. You go to school or college or whatever all your life, they're putting things in your head, right? They're putting information in like a hard drive on a computer, just putting it in. But they're not teaching you how to use that hard drive, how to master that hard drive. So with hypnotherapy, you're gaining a skill. In fact, when I do sessions, following any session, I always give the client an audio, a self-hypnosis audio, because you're going to eventually learn to hypnotize yourself. You're going to do self-hypnosis. It's going to be something that's going to benefit you long-term. So whenever you're under stress, whenever you have a situation, you can self-hypnotize yourself. And in doing so, you now have a skill to help yourself on a daily basis. I hypnotize myself all the time when I go to sleep at night, because often at night, I've had a busy day like you probably do, a lot of things happening, hard to shut off your mind. So I do a self-hypnosis process when I go to sleep, and I go to sleep quite rapidly and sleep really well and really deep. So the benefits of that, and also, as I mentioned, versus psychiatry or psychologists, it's very rapid. So either you get relief in the first 2 or 3 meetings, or you don't. And if you don't, then you move on. So it's rapid, it's quick, it helps you to find a solution that you find within yourself that was always there, but you just never unlocked. And you gain a skill that's long-term, that's going to benefit you for many, many years, your whole life, really.
Like I have a random sleep routine. Like my sleep routine is bad because like sometimes I stay up at night and like, but I make up for that sleep. Any
Right.
um any ways you can better sleep?
Oh yeah, because you're controlling your mind into deep relaxation. That's one of the first things you do with hypnosis is relaxing better. And so you can even learn to do like power naps at lunch when you take a lunch break. For instance, if people are working, they take a lunch break. They can take like a 15-minute power nap with hypnosis in their car or whatever between, or wherever they get away to. And they can get equivalent about a 2 hour sleep in that 20-25 minutes.
This is interesting because like about like psychology, you got a background in psychology. What are some psychology facts?
Well, as far as psychology, again, I think a lot of times now, sometimes people do need psychiatrists and psychologists. I'm not being negative on that process, but I think sometimes with psychology, it becomes overcomplicated. And in doing so, you go for years to that type of study, to go to a psychiatrist. And some people do need it. I'm not saying that hypnosis is the top thing, but it is a powerful modality of treatment that's going to help people. And we do have elements of psychology and hypnotherapy, but again, we're not psychologists or psychiatrists. We don't practice medicine, and we're not following that pathway. We're letting the person learn this skill and learn to heal themselves. I had a friend who made even T-shirts up. It was a hypnotist, and the saying was hypnotherapy because you have the right to change your own mind, and that's really what it comes down to.
This is my first time talking to like a hypnotist because I never like really researched it. Like I see on TV, like somebody might have like a stopwatch and like they're turning and they say go to sleep, wake up.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's an issue we all fight all the time as hypnotists because, well, movies like Get Out, for instance, you may have seen Get Out. I don't know, but since the 1919, believe it or not, that was the first
Oh yeah.
hypnosis. That in 1919 they did the first hypnosis movie, which was called The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari in Germany. It was during the German Expressionist era, just before Hitler rise to power using hypnosis. And so from that time on, that was about an evil hypnotist at a carnival that kept a person hypnotized 24 hours a day and had them go out and murder people. So from that all the way up to Get Out recently, um, movies, books, novels, comic books, they all have given hypnosis and hypnotists a bad rap, making us seem negative. And the hypnotist is always the evil person in the film. So we have to overcome that all the time.
Wow. Any other things you wanted to share?
Well, I would just encourage people not to give up during this pandemic. It's easy to give up when we have so much going against us. And I know now things are looking good with the vaccines and all of that, but really psychological things we went through the pandemic are going to stay with us for another 8-10 years. For a lot of people, a lot of my friends lost their houses, lost everything they had, because a lot of my friends are in the entertainment industry, and they literally didn't do a day of work in 2020 and still aren't going back to work. So there's a lot of stressful things that happen. And as a least expensive option and a more rapid option, hypnotherapy is a great way to do it. And I would encourage you, even if you don't work with me, which I would love to work with people, and my information will be, I guess you'll post it below our
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah, in the
So
show notes.
yeah, in the show notes. So they can get a hold of me, and I will look forward to helping them. Even if they don't want to work with me, I'd be happy to talk with them. And actually, for the first 10 people that listen to this podcast and watch it, if they email me and they mention your show on the subject line, I will give them a free audio download of self-hypnosis for relaxation. So the first 10 people that get with me, sending me that email with your name and your show in the subject line, and then requesting that audio, I will send them a WeTransfer link, and they can have one of my personal self-relaxation audios to help with pandemic and anything else they're stressing on in life.
Awesome. How you won some awards before?
Yeah, I've won over 20 awards from the American Council of Hypnotist Examiners for presentation excellence. I've been invited many times to lecture at their conferences. In fact, I'm the immediate past president of the American Council of Hypnotist Examiners, which is the most respected group in the world for hypnotists. I also won a lot of rewards for my magic as well, and for best illusionist, best escape artist. And I use hypnosis and all that work too, because I put my hand in wolf traps, I break arrows with my neck, I swallow razor blades. A lot of it, I utilize self-hypnosis to be able to control the pain at the moment of it. When I put my hand in that wolf trap or break that arrow with my soft part of my neck, I have to focus in, use self-hypnosis to overcome the pain. So it's great for pain control, confidence, sleep, stop smoking. Also, a lot of other issues, like I work with sales forces to help them up their sales force abilities, Caldwell Banker and groups like that. And I've even worked with very serious issues like cancer. I've helped ladies with breast cancer and overcome that as part of their treatment along with the doctor. I've also worked with military folks that come back from the war with things like phantom limb pain and issues like that. So it can be used on a light level, like relaxation, or a very deep level, like helping with cancer and other physical issues. So yeah, it's really cool that way. And I really want to encourage everyone, even if you don't work with me, seek out a good hypnotherapist and make sure you look at their credentials, because like with anything in life, there's some people that are very well trained, have good morals, and are kind. There's others that are just in it for the money. So when you do seek out a hypnotherapist, always check their credentials and people that have went to them before and recommendations.
You could tell us more about your book.
Yeah, well, I just, there's a new book coming out. It's not out quite yet. It's called The Game Changers Handbook. And it's going to be published in the next few months. So you got to keep an eye on my website to know when the release will be. But I wrote a chapter in it, actually. I was invited to write one of the 18 chapters on how to be successful with business on a zero budget was the title. And I go into using podcasts and all the other things, and also teaching about how to be a good salesperson and use sales techniques that have been very profitable, not just for me, but for generations of my family.
Have you always been into like speaking and doing speaking engagements? Because like I seen you talk on your website. Like it sounds good. Like your communication style is great.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. That's a big compliment coming from a guy like you that does this all the time. I do a lot of speaking, a lot of presentations, both for the public and in private for magician groups and hypnotist groups. But I have done a lot of speaking engagements for everything from Lions clubs to corporate events, and I have a keynote speech and all of that. So I really enjoy it. I guess what the basis of what I do, what I enjoy, I love people. I really love people. I love helping people. And after 4.5 decades in the industry, I've really learned how to do that in a really good way, in a really helpful way, and a positive way. So I love to spread positivity. With my own podcast, for instance, I never discuss politics in that podcast or any current issues. I discuss interesting things, fascinating things, and how to make your life a better life.
Awesome. And what can people find you and connect? How can they connect with you?
Well, I know you'll be posting it, but you can get with me in a lot of ways. I'm on Spotify with my show, which is called The Michael Mezmer Show, Mezmer. My website is COVIDnosis, COVIDnosis.weebly, WEEBLY.com. And that's my website for my hypnotherapy. I have other websites. And then, of course, you can email me at hypnomezmer@hotmail.com. That's HYPNOMEZMER@hotmail.com or yahoo.com. Either way, the beginning's the same, Hotmail or Yahoo. And again, I'm looking forward to some of your folks emailing me so that I can send them that free audio.
Yeah, it's awesome. I thank you, Mr. Michael, for joining me on the show. And thank you so much. And thank the listeners.
Thank you so much. It's been an awesome pleasure. You're a fantastic host, and I so appreciate you giving me this opportunity today.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all. And episodes air every Friday, 1 p.m. U.S. Central Time. Thank you.